Hello and welcome to Feminine Success Secrets, the place women come to become powerfully feminine. I'm Candice Oneida. I am very excited to have a guest on the channel today, Morgana Rae. Hello. Morgana Rae is a life and success coach and better known as the money goddess. Now, as this is something I haven't really spoken about very much yet to you, I found one of the greatest experts in the industry to bring to you. So let me just read you a little bit more about her before we get Morgana to talk. So Morgana Rae is an international #1 best-selling author and sought-after teacher and retreat leader with over 20 years as a leader in personal development. She's widely regarded to be the world's leading relationship with money coach. Morgana's groundbreaking program for creating wealth has featured her on ABC, NBC, Fox, PBS, NPR, CNN, United Press International, Yahoo Finance, and the Wall Street Journal Online. She wrote the Life Magic column for a national women's magazine and was named a top in e-commerce by WE Magazine. As a thought leader on the topics of wealth and relationship, she's been a featured expert on programs with Deepak Chopra, Ariana Huffington, Marianne Williamson, Bob Proctor, Wayne Dyer, Dr. Vedana Shiva, Marsha Wielder, and many others. Morgana's books, recordings, magazine, articles, and classes have impacted the lives of hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. Morgana writes, speaks, and coaches from a desire to empower idealistic entrepreneurs, coaches, authors, and artists to have a big impact in the world and to heal the rift between heart, spirit, and money. On that note, let's welcome Morgana Rae.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here.
Beautiful. Well, the reason that I really brought you on to speak here is, of course, this channel is about women for women. It's about feminine power, as finding power through the feminine as opposed to the masculine, as we know that the world major paradigms are based on that. And when we spoke at the retreat last year, your approach has a lot to do with the feminine relationship to money and abundance and success. So this is really what I wanted to talk to you a bit about today.
I'm thrilled because female empowerment is probably what I'm more passionate about than anything right now. Women, people of color, just equal rights. I'm just really feeling a fire for that. And the work that I do with money, it's funny because I think somebody on Facebook this morning typed, "What if money didn't exist? How would your life change?" And at stoplights on my way to yoga, I'm like texting my response, which is, well, it wouldn't change at all because money isn't real. Money is invented. It's just, if we didn't have the money scorecard to keep track of our deepest issues around love and worth and security, we would come up with something else. So, money represents power. It does. It represents love. It represents value, and it represents our very right to exist. So it represents all of the deepest pains of being a human being. And it's become a real matter of life and death for the individual and for the planet for us to create a healthier, more loving, more humane, more sustainable economic paradigm. And the people to talk to on that are women.
And what I'm hearing you say there too is that money as it stands is more of a reflection of value, of our value, than it is anything real per se. And of course we know we less and less rarely hand over the physical, as we know is fiat money anyway, but we less and less hand over this physical money. It's all transactional. It's all in the ethers, right?
It's a vote on importance. And it's not even rational. I call it a shared delusion that one purse is worth $5 and one purse we've decided is worth $500 or $5,000. It's just a bag. Right. But it's how we vote on importance and value. And really, those are very deep.
They
wounds and
are,
issues as a
yes.
human being.
And also, of course, at first, you have to get someone to go, because that person has a bigger bank account than you and their purse is bigger, doesn't actually make them a more valuable, more intelligent, more heartful, more loving, more spiritual, or more valuable human being than you.
Or more happy.
Or happier.
Here's the
Right.
funny thing. People who need more money, we often believe that all of our problems will go away when we have more money. I used to believe that back when I was beginning this journey. And then I started, I've made a lot more money than I used to. And then I've also coached clients with millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions. And I've become really, really good. Especially last year, 4 of my clients went into the millions and multi-millions over the course of our coaching, and some of them in a really short amount of time, like weeks. I'm sorry, I digress. I'm guilty of that. I do that all the time. So the point I was going to make when I started the sentence is that when you have money, all those issues that you had at the beginning, you still have. And now the stakes are bigger and you have more to lose. And if you have an unhealthy relationship with money, then you become a target. It's so what I do, and my approach to money is so weird and different, especially when I first came out with this in 2003, because it was the only thing that worked for me after I tried everybody else's program and failed. This kind of happened by accident and desperation, and it worked for me instantly. And then I started getting all these clients, not even marketing this and trying it out on them, and then figuring out how to make it work for them. And then it just sort of became what I got famous for.
And I can hear my subscribers saying, what did she do?
Okay. This is, and the women are going to love this, because, we tend to be relational. The guy who created BNI, and Ivan Meisner, I think his name is, and I saw him speak, and he was wonderful. And he talked about how the women in his BNI organization make more money than the men because they're relational and the men are transactional.
Right.
So one of my challenges is that I am built to care about people. And if I have a choice between money and people, I always choose people. That's how I'm built. And I was also broke, like living in LA, struggling to make $100 a month after the Ivy League education, after 6 certifications of coaching and being really good at marketing, having movie star clients and testimonials, and really being able to overcome all of my accomplishments to fail spectacularly in money. It was like I had superhuman powers to repel money. And we laugh about it now, but I wanted to die at the time. It was so heartbreaking. Yeah. I had such despair, such rage.
I was only laughing at your phraseology, superhuman powers to repel money, because I think many people relate to that.
That's why I share it. I honestly hope that I'm the biggest loser in the room, because this is how I overcame it. And it's funny because even though I wasn't making money, I still had a coach. I was still flying out of town every weekend to get more training, more certifications, more debt. And thank God, because when it clicked, it changed instantly. Like the next day, 4 people hired me at double what I'd ever charged before, and they've never stopped coming. And the money just, I've made millions doing this work, and I haven't made as much as my clients have. So what changed for me, I was in pain and despair. So the person watching who is in the most pain, anxiety, and despair, congratulations. This is going to be so much easier for you, because we want to create polarity. There's no magic. There's no transformation in neutrality. It's like a slingshot. The more you go into the dark side, the more tension and energy you have to catapult into where you want to be on the other side and make it stick. So take off your law of attraction cap and just play with me and be a victim for a little short time, because it'll pay off. And so because I was in so much pain and really wanting to die, it was perfect. you know. And my coach asked me out of the blue, out of intuition, asked me a really weird question. And he said, if your money was a person, who would your money be? And I saw the person instantly, and he was big, and he was scary, and he was dirty, and he was violent, and he terrified me. And I never knew that I felt about money that way until I saw it as a person. And I only saw the person because I was in so much pain. So the first step is uncovering the root cause, which we totally skipped over. But it's anything that's ever made you feel unsafe, unloved, or unworthy. Yeah. You will never, ever, ever find the money monster in the money story. But we start with the money story because money pain gets your attention. And it represents all the deeper stuff. Step number 2 is personify all this pain. Like, imagine there's a person who's behind all the worst stuff that has ever happened in your life or the world, and make it feel real. It's not an intellectual exercise. If you know, it's like Leslie made over $1.2 million in 3 weeks because it was not an intellectual exercise for her. She's not even the biggest amount, you know, so, but boy, did she have the pain ready. And so step number 3 is when the monster is present. Like I had, you know, my big, scary, dirty, violent, he was like a biker dude. And I could just imagine if I were at a live event with him, I would be keeping my distance. And that's when my financial situation made sense for the first time in my life. Because on paper, Ivy League certifications, huge success stories, celebrity clients, great at marketing, had the vision board, had the millionaire mindset. I was affirmations and vision boards and tagline, and I was doing everything everybody told me to do, and I was still making $100 a month in LA, where a studio begins at $1,100. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's impressive. That's why I, you know, trotted out. And so I knew that there was no possibility of me having money in my life if it was the biker, because I could feel how I
Did you call it the biker?
I called him the biker. By the way, that
Scary
was the first one. I've done it again because it's been, 15 years now. And it just goes deeper and deeper. But the first time I did it, it lasted me a good 5 years before I needed to do it. By the way, I do not recommend going that long without doing it again. But, you know, I learn as I go. So I got rid of the biker. Phew, it was like, whoa. It felt so weird, empty, relief to be without the biker for the first time. And then there was the problem that I live in LA and I needed a relationship with money, and I just got rid of it.
So it was a bad relationship, but you still had to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So
ladies,
you're attached to the bad guy.
Ladies, if you've ever had a bad relationship with a guy who put you down, maybe beat you or just beat you up emotionally, made you somebody you believed, but he's the best I'll ever do, or the best I'll ever have. You know, if you've ever been in a really bad relationship and you got out, you're not in a real hurry to get into a new one.
Yeah.
But I knew I needed
a void.
A relationship with money.
There is a void there, isn't there?
Yeah. And I didn't want the monster to come back. So I had to scramble, and I had to think, well, who could I have be my money, who I would want as a person so much in my life. I would feel so safe. I'd be so happy with this person that it would be okay that it's money. And by the way, that's really important. The process wouldn't have worked any other way. The relationship has to come first. The cash follows. As in the relationship to the money first, as in you have to build the relationship as a person. Unless it fit the relationship to the person. I call it money, and I'll explain that in a minute. I call it money for convenience. But what it really is, this is the big secret, is everything I'm teaching isn't really money at all. It's relationship with life. Yeah. But money is that area of life that needed my love and healing the most. So I said I was going to talk about it later. I just gave you the secret. And also just a little tiny digression, if I might, and we might get there. And then following all this for you personally, I know that you ended up in
the best actual relationship of your life too. And maybe we can get to that. We can shelve that for a second and we'll get to that.
Yeah. Okay. So God, I'm sorry that I'm so itchy all of a sudden. I don't know. So if I'm like touching my face all the time, I apologize.
No worries.
Okay. So I asked myself, well, who could I want in my life so much that I'd be willing to have this person in my life, even if it represented money? And in that moment, I saw this tall, dark, handsome, romantic, clean-cut young man in a tuxedo holding a bouquet of red flowers who loved me. And that was so weird.
So different to the biker dude.
The experience of money loving me, loving me from the heart, was something that never occurred to me before. I'd never experienced. It was so strange. And there's something really important, that he loved me, which meant that I had the power to break his heart. And I had been all those years that I was treating him like a monster. And I could feel how much he wanted to be with me. So step number 3 was getting rid of the monster. Step number 4 is meeting the opposite of the monster, which is your money honey. Giving you like the cliff notes on my process. And then step number 5 is having a dialogue, because I could feel how much he wanted to be with me. I also had a real sense of my own power in the relationship, because I have the body. And I could feel like he had always wanted to be with me, and I'd always been pushing him away. Remember my superhuman powers of repulsion? I'd always been rejecting him, and it had been hurting him. And I didn't want to hurt this sweet, beautiful guy. So I asked him what he needed from me. This is step number 5. So that he could stay with me, with kind of the subtext that he wanted to. And then he told me, and he in our very first conversation back in 2003, I think March, he said that he needed me to love him and to stop treating him like a monster. And when I talk about love, I'm not talking about the love of money is the root of all evil. It's not about money. It's love.
It's about love.
Yeah. Love is not evil. Love is generous. Love is kind. Love is noble. Love is expansive. It's not cheating. It's not exploitation. It's not harming people. It's not scarcity. It's love is love. It is everything that is good after you remove all the bad. And that's what I'm talking about. And then the final step was we made an agreement. I call this our concrete measurable action. I made a promise to him that next time he brought me a client, I would not go into my ew, I have to talk about the money as if it's a big scary monster. I would just state my fee with the inner subtext of thank you for the gift. And, here is my fee. Isn't he lovely?
I'm going to share him with you.
Yeah. And then I just shut up, which is for me, the hardest skill in the world. And 4 people called me the next day, and it was so
4 people called you the next day
the next day wanting to hire me, emailing me, calling me. I had 4 conversations within 24 hours. Not unusual at all. And when this process happened, sometimes really Carolyn Conniff made $86,000 within the first day. I mean, I get so many stories of that kind of thing. Leslie, who I was mentioning, the first time she completed the process, she received $40,000 the next day. She did it again a week later, $10,000. Then she called me. Then we had a quick start call a week afterwards. It came with the program she bought. And she sold her house that weekend that had been on sale for 3 years and hadn't been viewed for 2 years. I have a call after this with a client who we had our session 2 weeks ago, and her house had been on the market, hadn't been viewed in 7 months, and she got 5 viewings and multiple offers and sold the house. Yay! So, and I share that because everything that I'm talking about is very woo-woo, airy-fairy sounding and all that kind of stuff. So, and I need to ground it into reality that when we need to protect ourselves from something, whether it is money or love or health or success, all of it has good stuff and all of it has lessons and challenges. And we don't protect ourselves because we're crazy. We don't protect ourselves for no reason. But when we're protecting ourselves from something we want and even need to survive, we make our lives much, much harder. And at best, it's like driving with the brakes on. So and
the accelerator on the other foot and wondering why they're not getting ahead.
And it's painful and dangerous. And so this process is, okay, let's look under the hood and find out, boy, I obviously don't know where brakes are on a car, right? So what I'm saying is, let's find out what's really wrong. That's step number one. Looking for the root cause. Find out what's really wrong, what we're really protecting ourselves from, and make it as big and visible and awful as possible so that we are motivated to reject it. Get rid of it, slay it. And then when we look at our life from a new context, from this partnership of love and expansion, then we behave differently. Then we see things differently. We show up differently, and life is different. And it can look magical. And I love, Arthur C. Clarke says, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So there's a lot of stuff that happens that I can't really explain.
You've done a pretty good job. And I think one of the things that's really stood out for me, it's been very clear, thank you. One thing that's really stood out for me that's really just resonating very deeply is the difference between transactional and relational. And, you know, through the lens of feminine power, the women in my world getting them out of their masculine all the time, which they've ended up stuck in, and getting toward relearning, or I should say unlearning things in order that they can become in their feminine power again. You know, one of the cool things about feminine power is relationship to fill in the blank. You know, relationship to self, relationship to money, relationship to life. Can you say a little more about that?
Thank you. It's all relationship with self and life. There's really nothing else. And when we are transactional, we're operating in fear. So as soon as we're like, what has money done for me lately? We're suddenly back in relationship with the money monster and we're helpless.
Yeah, what have you done for me lately? It's like, if you see it as a person, you can have a discussion with it. And
wouldn't work for my husband, wouldn't work for my money honey. It's not, you know, it's like, I'm like people. And one of the most surprising and inspiring and exciting things that I've discovered coaching so many thousands of people, mostly women on this, over the last 15 years, especially when I started, you know, using my money goddess archetypes with her at my retreats in Bali. When women feel financially insecure, we become very masculine. It's like we have our Athena armor on. Athena is the very masculine intellectual goddess archetype of war. Yeah, we have our armor. We're not safe. We're not trustworthy. We're not trusting. Yeah. Although I think the two go together. When we're not safe, we can be very castrating, and we are protecting ourselves. So it's very hard to let the love in through the armor. When women feel secure in the world, when we feel safe in our relationship with money, regardless of what the circumstances are. And by the way, the feeling of safety happens before the circumstances change. When we feel safe, we soften.
Yes.
And we get juicy and delicious. And we become very attractive. Then we're in Aphrodite energy. The people want to help us, where we're really just shiny. Our pleasure is our gift to the world, you know, that makes the flowers grow. The sunshine, it's the energy, the radiance of a happy woman is so powerful.
Ineluctable, yes. Mm.
And it was a surprise. I didn't know this would happen. I didn't expect it, but I saw that men became more manly when they were no longer feeling castrated by their circumstances and felt like they had slayed the monster and they had their money, honey. They said they could stand stronger. And women were like, and they became
yes.
more feminine, and they started attracting love.
And attractive. Because when we're enough feminine, we're in the attraction orientation, the invitation. We invite into our body and into our life.
They would attract money and love. Like Catherine, who went with me to Bali for the first time last year and then came back to assist me this year. She met her guy 10 days after returning from Bali. On the last day, she was putting together a 7-figure deal. And then 10 days after she got home from Bali, she married the guy that she met the guy that she's marrying in August. She's, I think, 55. This will be her first marriage.
Oh, beautiful story.
Days.
Beautiful story.
And I met my guy because I had this, because that's been like the big quest of my life since I was 5. No, younger, 4.5. And, because the great thing about having this, I call the money honey money out of convenience because that's the area of life that needs my love and healing so much. But it's so much more than that. So I used to have conversations with my money honey about love, romance, my life partner, because it's always been the biggest yearning in my life. And he, my imaginary money honey, would just say to me, you have to hold out for somebody who loves you as much as I do.
Oh.
And I did. And I met my husband when I was 45. We married when I was 47. We've been married 20 times, well, maybe 19. We're working towards 100. His idea, completely. There's a man on the planet who was more romantic than I am. I never could have imagined that.
What did he say? What did he come up with?
He proposed that we get married 100 times in 100 countries. We both love to travel. And all the reasons I thought I was unlovable, like I'm very needy. I need so much attention. I need to be touched and talked to all the time. I'm a terrible sleeper. I'm not a great housekeeper. I don't cook. So I had like a really long laundry list of why I was going to be alone for the rest of my life.
Aww.
It's fine, And my husband sees that he has this needy, romantic wife who's like a bottomless pit of needing love and attention, but also very, very giving and generous. And I make him happy too. But he just figured that if he keeps marrying me, one of these days I'll figure out that I'm loved. And he just sees how, like, when I feel secure and I feel right with the world, life is really good. So
it's beautiful. So your money honey led to your honey.
Yeah, my human honey.
Yeah, your human honey.
Yeah,
it's beautiful, Morgana. There's so much richness to your work, and what I'd love to be able to do is connect my people to you. And we're going to actually put the link below in the description box just in case it changes to make sure that people can find Morgana. But I think there is something that you said that you have a quiz or something for them to do as a way to sort of start their process with you, start a process of discovery. Do you want to describe that a little bit?
It's my money love quiz. Money love you. It's just a really quick and easy quiz of maybe 10 questions, if even that many, to just find out where you are on the journey. I believe that, regardless of your circumstances, we are all on a journey to put our life into a place where we can focus on the only 3 things that matter. And those things are love, lifestyle, and legacy. Those are, I believe, the 3 things that make human beings happy. And money exists to serve love, lifestyle, and legacy. And when money gets in the way of any of those things, even if you're a billionaire, you don't have a healthy relationship with money. So wherever you are on the journey, that's where we're moving. I call it my mastery path. So the quiz link will be down below. Also, you can find it through my main website at morganarae.com. But yeah, take the quiz. It's quick and easy. And based on where you are, you'll get a quick assessment of where you are in your relationship and what your next step should be.
That's a perfect place for us to end up today. Thank you so, so much, Morgana, for your time and your energy and your genius in this arena. It's going to be so beautiful for people to hear this and to take your quiz and to enter your world. So I just wanted to thank you so much for your time. Beautiful, beautiful. And to my audience, when you have the courage to go out there and shine, you give others permission to do the same. So let's go out there and shine this week. Bye-bye for now.